Hi, I'm Wes Allen with DM Tales, and today I wanted to demonstrate what it takes to roll up a character in Basic Fantasy RPG. Let's roll it. Thank you to all my patrons for supporting this channel. You make a lot of things possible, and if you would like to join in, check the description below. So the process for rolling up a character in Basic Fantasy RPG is very straightforward. You roll 3d6 for your attributes, then you choose your race. It does use race for your different heritages in Basic Fantasy by default. And then you choose your class. Apply your saving throws, all your special abilities for either your heritage or your race or your class, things like turning for undead or thief skills or your spells for your magic users, and then roll for starting gold and getting your equipment. That's pretty much it. And you can do it in just about 10 minutes if you're not trying to explain it to someone. Let's take a look. Okay, so here I have a blank character sheet. This is the Basic Fantasy install for Foundry VTT. I have a couple bugs you might see when I'm doing this. It's mostly to do with the way images work, but it works pretty well. And in Basic Fantasy RPG, you go and you roll 3d6 straight down the line. So I am going to do 3d6, hit roll, and we'll see what we get. And we're starting with a 7. Well, that's an inauspicious start. Let's roll for intelligence now. 16. So could be a magic user on board here. Let's find out. 17 for wisdom. Now we're getting some decent rolls. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what their dexterity is going to be. Do they have a good armor class? No. Penalty on the armor class. Let's roll again for our constitution. Are they sickly or not? They are relatively healthy. +1 on their hit points. So that's going to be good. And we'll roll now for charisma. What's their charisma like? Average. This is a very playable character. So typically in Basic Fantasy RPG, if your penalties outweigh your bonuses, you can re-roll the character because it's playable, but it's not going to be as fun. So for here, we actually have a +5 and a -2. We are well within our capacity for playing this character and doing it well. Now, there are a couple things that I could do. So at my table, I allow characters to swap at least one of their attributes. So if they want to play a character and they have a terrible score in the attribute they need to have a high score in, I would let them flip to. For this, though, I like the idea of having a not very strong, but very intelligent and wise character who is also not very dexterous. So this is going to be someone who is not necessarily going to be at the front of melee, but could use a ranged weapon. Or they could use spells. Things are working out for this character pretty good. So let's make this a magic user. Level 1, we'll get the experience points there in a second. And let's do the saving throws really quick. I have a saving throw table in here. There's my saves. Minimize this really quick. And for level 1, magic users have scores of 13, 14, 13, 16, 15. So 13, 14, 13, 16, 15. There we go. Saving throws are in. That could change if we pick a different race besides human. So that's what we're going to look at right now. So magic users are rather interesting. They do not have great hit points. However, they do have a +1 to constitution. So we're going to roll a d4 with a +1 for their hit points. And they start out with 3. So this person's not going to want to be anywhere near melee or danger. Typically in my campaigns, I do allow first level characters to start with their max hit points at first level. So their max hit dice and whatever modifiers they have. But we're going full random for this because that's always fun. And a magic user needs 2,500 experience points to get to the second level. So we'll put that in there right now. And a lot of this is already done. They have an armor class of 11 because that is their unarmored armor class, and they do not, oh, actually, they have an armor class of 10 because they have a dexterity of 8 with -1, so they definitely don't want to be anywhere near danger. An attack bonus of 1, a movement of 30, and an initiative bonus of 0. Next, what we want to do is we want to get their starting gold, and we'll pick their race in a second. I'm not sure if I want to go human or elf at this point, but let's roll starting gold. To do that, you roll 3d6 and times by 10. And, you know, a reasonably wealthy magic user for first level, 100 gold. Again, they don't have to buy armor or big weapons, so that's actually pretty nice for them. And you know what? Let's make him an elf, just for the heck of it. We'll make a male elf, and it's, say he's about 75 years old at this point, which should be good. Now we need to add their special abilities because elves can do things that other characters cannot. To do that, we're going to go in here and we're going to type in elf, open up the compendium, and here's the elf secret abilities or special abilities. Dark vision, 60 feet. They find secret doors on a roll of 1 to 2 if they are searching. They find secret doors on a cursory look, so if they're just walking down a hallway, the DM rolls a 1 on a 1d6, or the GM rolls a 1 on a 1d6, they can discover a secret door. That came really handy in one of my campaigns. They're immune to ghoul paralysis, also really handy, and they're less likely to be surprised. So usually you're surprised on a roll of 1d2, and this for an elf, you're only surprised on a 1. So elves could actually act in a typically considered a surprise round. That's some really nice stuff. However, elves also have some other cool things. So elves also get bonuses on their saving throws. They save +1 versus paralysis and petrify, and +2 versus magic wands and spells. So that's not in here in the compendium, but I'm going to stick this in the special abilities, and we'll deal with that in a second. Here's what I'm going to do for this. So you could add those modifiers to every die roll for a save versus paralysis or petrified or magic wands and spells, but I like to actually stick that in the value of the saving throw itself. So if they get a plus, put it over here. So if they get a +1 for paralysis or petrify, then we're going to actually take 1 away from the target number to hit, and they get a +2 versus magic wands and spells. We're going to take 2 away from that, and 2 away from rod stabs and spells. There we go. Now we're looking pretty good. Let's get to the general equipment. Okay, so for the magic user, there's no armor that they need, but we're going to get them a nice common clothing. We'll get them a cloak, 4 gold pieces and 2 gold pieces, so they're down 6, so they're now at 94. You can see that it actually tracks their encumbrance as well. And we will give them a dagger for their combat. And maybe we'll give them a couple of daggers. So we can put a few in there. The reason why I'm putting a few in is because if they throw it, they can take it out of their inventory and know that they've used that many daggers. So they've taken 3. Yeah, we'll give them 4. They're a walking dagger factory, which is nice. They can attack with melee or with ranged. And actually, if you click on the edit button here, it sees that melee is 10 feet for close, 20 feet for medium, and 30 feet for a far range. So that's +1, neutral, and -2 or -1, respectively. And they don't have any armor. So the last thing we need to do is we need to get their spells, because we're going to not get them a whole bunch of equipment for this. Maybe we'll give them a backpack. There we go. 4 gold pieces. They're down to 90, and I need to remember how much the daggers cost. That is 2 gold pieces each, so another 8 out. Down to 82. Magic users don't have to spend a lot of money, but they also might not survive, so that's always fun. And let's look at their starting spells. Here is the list of starting spells for first level magic user. They automatically start with read magic. So I'll put that in there, and they can prepare 1 spell a day. So we'll put that there as well. And typically what happens is you would roll on a table for a lot of folks to see what your second spell is. A lot of times at my tables, I let people pick which spell they want. They got to really train with whatever master was training them. But for the sake of this, let's go ahead and roll it. So let's go over it. We'll open up a roll table and we'll see what first level spell we get besides read magic. First level magic user spells. Let's go down and roll it. And they get protection from evil for their first level spell. Here it is. We'll drop that in there. That will get them a +2 bonus to AC and a +2 bonus to saves for 1 turn per level. So that's going to be a turn is about 10 minutes long. And that's basically it. This character is complete. They have read magic and protection from evil. They have their special abilities in, which is all their elf abilities, including their saving throws. Their saves have been modified according to their class, and their attributes are in, and they have some daggers as their weapons, and their attack bonus has been dealt with. Also, I should point out, because they have a dexterity of -8, they have an initiative bonus of -1 as well. So anytime you roll initiative, it should give you a -1 to that roll. So they're not going to be quick on their feet. This is definitely a backline character, but we need to give this character a wonderful name. And let's see what we should call it. How about Ventracordifon? Good name for an elf, I think. Now let's figure out what their movement rate is going to be, because they are unarmored, and I do believe at a load of 10 pounds, they're going to be unencumbered. So technically their move should be 40 feet around, which means they can run away really fast when combat starts and get out of range and throw their daggers and take off, which not bad. So this is where we are. Very good start for a character. With 3 hit points, you're going to have to be really careful to survive, but that's the thing about magic users. If they survive, they become the most powerful characters in the game. So we'll just create some artwork for him, and we'll throw him in, and maybe he'll show up as an NPC at some point in my campaign. But as you can see, this is really, really fast. There's not a whole lot that goes into it. So if a character dies, well, at least you can roll one up really fast. Okay, so what do I have coming up on the channel? Well, first off, I am working on my review of Symbaroum. It is about 2/3 of the way done. I want to go through and reread some of the things for mechanics, and then I'll be ready to write that part of the review and get it filmed and out. Hopefully that'll be next Monday, if not earlier, depending on what my week looks like when my free time finally hits. Also, I am trying to get through the 2008 copy of Traveler right now. I am having to learn a whole new language and a new process for making characters that I have never encountered before. And so that's going to take a little bit of time, but I am reading it and I will get to it. I have 1 vote on my Patreon poll right now, and it is for Traveler, so I am making a diligent effort to actually get through it. But that's going to take a little bit. I'm also reading the Savage Worlds Fantasy Companion. I am about 1/3 of the way through that, and I'm dying to get into Dragonbane. So I want to read some of those books, Traveler and the Fantasy Companion, so I can get into Dragonbane and finally look at it, because I'm so excited to open it up and just dive in. But that's what I have coming up. I think what I might be doing in the off weeks when I'm working on reviews is demonstrating more character roll-ups. I would love to demonstrate different character classes for basic fantasy RPG and some other OSR games or NSR games as well. And so that's what's going on. Until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.